like just take a fat studies course at a university. One of the things they'll say, and someone mentioned this in the comment section on this video, one of the things that they'll say is that the only reason why fat people, or like the idea of being fat is unhealthy, is because fat people are inconveniencing thin people. And so thin people try to, yeah, it's the same thing with like disabilities. Disabled people are inconveniencing abled people, so we just label them as disabled and we're trying to quote unquote fix them. That stuff is like legitimately dangerous. I mean, one, it's unfalsifiable, or it could be falsifiable actually, but how do you know? What are the studies that you've conducted to come to that conclusion? There are none. Okay. Two, that is legitimately going to actually harm people who are trying to lose weight. If someone is on the verge of thinking between losing weight or remaining the way they are, and they see that piece of information, one, you're going to make them feel terrible because they're living their life under the assumption that thin people everywhere hate them, and the only reason why they're considered overweight or at risk health-wise is because thin people found you as an inconvenience. So that's going to make them feel terrible. Two, there's obvious health risks that they're going to be completely ignoring now because of that. So this stuff is legitimately dangerous. And as we've said millions of times on this show before, this is one of the reasons why we have problems with social justice, woke activism that's been infiltrating the university system.
By the way, Ghost Bunny saying, I'm all for body positivity. I believe that we should work on becoming healthier versions of ourselves. I hate people who are judgy because we don't know where this person is in their life. Yeah, okay, so you obviously shouldn't be bullying people. You shouldn't be shaming and demonizing them or anything like that but part of becoming healthier versions of ourselves is by not being obese, okay? That is part of the equation, okay? But bullying people, that is not part of the equation. Like, imagine if somebody has, like, I don't know, some other health issue, like somebody that is not obese, and they're doing something wrong or without their knowledge, and it's leading to health concerns, right? I mean, you should obviously, like, nobody thinks it's a good idea. I mean, nobody that I know of thinks it's a good idea to go like make fun of them or demonize them or bullying them because of something that led to, I don't know, they can't breathe properly, or maybe some of their lifestyle choices has led into like them, I don't know, having joint problems. What are you going? Are you going to demonize them? Are you going to make fun of them? Are you going to, bully them? No, that doesn't make any goddamn sense. And if anybody does so, I think most of us would rightfully see that that's like not a healthy way of addressing it. But do you misinform them? Do you tell them like, yeah, like for example, if the way I'm doing my, like, let's say most of the time throughout the day, the way I'm sitting and doing my work behind my computer is going to lead to bad, posture and eventually joint problems, right? Is it shaming me if somebody comes and tells me, like, Armin, maybe if you bring your monitor up and you put your hand here, you're gonna not, it's gonna help not get carpal tunnel or something like that. I get the correct information, and with that correct information, I could, maybe live a healthier life. Okay, giving a correct information to people so they could make the best decisions is not the same as shaming people for the way they look, right? It's just giving them the correct information, right? And I think like some of these, again, this is what social justice, not the, you know what I'm talking about? These people, the woke people do, right? They take things that are good intentions. Like, for example, there's racism, and there's people with good intention, they want to address racism, and all of a sudden it turns into an industry of just, virtue signaling for the sake of, virtue signaling for the sake of virtue signaling, and it turns into something that it's wants to keep, make the problem seem bigger than it actually is, and address the problem in areas where it doesn't need to be addressed, right? So you actually go make the problem even worse, right? So there's some good intentions to begin with, and then the woke people come and turn it into something else. So yes, the good intention, just like with racism, what the woke people do when it comes to body shaming is there's the good intention that originally starts with is like, you shouldn't body shame people, you shouldn't demonize people, you shouldn't attack people and make them feel like they hate themselves, or make them feel like worthless or less worthy because they're fat. That's not a good thing. But then the woke mob comes and takes takes with the good intention and goes like, hey, let's tell people that being fat is not unhealthy. Like, what? No, that's not the same thing. Not shaming people, not making people feel like they're less worthy, not making people feel like they need, not demonizing people for being fat. That's a good, and that's a good thing. But now you're overcorrecting. Just like with everything you do, you overcorrect the work. Work people to overcorrect and be like, hey, yep, being obese and not being obese is the same thing health wise, which is not at all the case. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, there's a comment that says, "We're tired of being called lazy or given unsolicited advice. I just want people to shut up and let me live my life." Yeah, dude, you do you. Go for it. Like, I personally, I could not care less the way that you want to live your life. The only thing that I'm saying is that we should have correct information on the health
Hmm.
benefits and health detriments. That's all I'm saying. You could do whatever you want. I could not care less, and I really get angry when people fat shame people, or
Hmm.
when where they try to just humiliate them and make fun of them. I'm not okay with that. I'm very much against that. And I think it's counterproductive. One of the things that overweight people do is they stress eat. And that's one of the reasons why many of them are overweight. And so if you're making fun of someone, constantly shaming them, then of course it's only going to make the problem even worse if they believe they have a problem. So
Hmm.
yeah, and there's a lot of people on the internet. So I don't blame you for saying that. I don't blame you for thinking that at all. I've come across many people on the internet, usually on like right-wing conservative shows. Not that that's the only place, but usually that's where I see them, that are very much like anti-fat. So yeah, those people, I'm not aligning myself with them in the slightest, but that doesn't mean that therefore being fat or being overweight is healthy. That doesn't
Yeah.
mean that.
Yeah, and even if you have the correct information and you know that this is one of the factors that might attribute to your health concerns, but then even after that you decide, you know what, I'm okay with it. I'm happy the way I am, and you know, I'm not gonna let people shame me. You do you, okay? You do you, and you might decide there are other things that I could do that will make me healthier. I don't, there are other things that I could focus on, right? Or maybe you know what? Maybe health is not a major concern in your life. Maybe like you don't care. Okay, you're like, hey,
Yeah.
I don't
I
want to live.
promise you, it's not a major concern in my life. I am
Right,
underweight. I don't exercise, so
right.
if believe me, I'm not judging.
Yeah, but but again, if somebody does want to make health a major concern in life, and especially if people who are suffering around the world because of health concerns, right? That wish they didn't have those health concerns. It's a disservice to them to give all those people. It's a huge disservice to all those people to give them the wrong information just because some other people will want to feel comfortable with their body weight. Okay, we shouldn't hide the correct information because some people are being shamed. Okay, you could tell, if you're comfortable with your body size and if you want to be like somewhat overweight and you don't feel it and you don't want to let people shame you for that. Again, it's great that you're in a position that you're not suffering a lot, uh, mentally, physically. You're not experiencing much misery from your excess weight. Great for you. Stay like that. Your choice. And anybody who wants to shame and demonize you, they should be called out. But there are a lot of, like, millions of people right now that are miserable, that are living in misery because of the health concern that is brought to them or their loved ones, or the financial costs associated with the health concerns. That is a direct result from not just correlation, but caused by obesity, right? So you cannot just hide information or misrepresent information for the sake of, body positivity or fighting shame. This is not how you fight shame, by denying science.